teenager tends to actually accomplish what I want to accomplish. Just to get them to leave me the fuck alone. Hey, remember, you don't need to be hearing yourself. Let me fire this up real quick.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
I can hear you, but it's not letting me connect to the chat.
Am I still getting that gross echo thing?
No, not at all. Thankfully.
Cool. All right. So I think I only have you in the chat right now, hon.
Do we have the link, by the way?
No, I still haven't figured out how to make that charity thing work. I still need to fight with that. Oh, I just coughed right into the mic. I'm sorry.
It's not that loud. Don't worry about it.
I would love wine. If wine is on the table, yes.
Do you want to just start playing? The screen is still small, by the way.
Yeah, I know. There's somebody. Okay. I didn't want to just flat out start before anybody got in here, so other people could join in as they wish. So now I can start. Do, 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 do. Where am I? Here I am. So, good evening to those of you who have joined me for the veterinary themed stream thingy that I do. My name is Astria's Cat Yodi. I am a veterinary technician, and I am here to chit chat about various things in regards to veterinary medicine while I die hilariously and multiple times for your amusement playing this game. To, oh, I'm being told to hold on. Oh, hey. So the game is there we go. That should be a lot easier for actually people to see. Fantastico. This is why I have a co-pilot. So, yes, I will preface this stream as I hope to preface all of my streams with, yes, my voice is probably more annoying to me than it is to you. I am a veterinary professional, yes, but when in doubt, always talk to your veterinarian. And everything that I have is subject only to the information, education, and experience that I have. Your mileage may vary, and as is the case for most veterinary situations, not all patients are the same. So, with that being held firmly in mind, let us begin our topic on breeders, which is to say, the act of producing multiple pets of a various breed, hopefully reliably, usually for money. So, breeders. Breeders are complex in terms of topic simply by virtue of the fact that being a breeder is already very difficult to define. You've got people who call themselves breeders who literally just throw two animals together and voila, you have babies. That doesn't necessarily mean you're a good breeder. And then you've got people who literally dedicate their lives to it and will throw thousands of dollars into the actual care and screening and health of their animals well before they even get to the procreative part of things. So to say, oh, well, this person's a breeder, keep in mind that, oh, I just died. Don't keep that in mind. Keep in mind that this could be a number of different people to whom I am referring. So that we'll classify them easily for sake of argument into two categories. We'll call them the professional breeders, which will be that last category that I was talking about of people who show their animals, get their animals registered and papered and what are called finished, which is a whole different thing that I actually don't know a whole lot about because that's a whole new world when you're talking about showing animals. But they go through the hard work of the process is more what I mean. When you've got those people, those are what I consider professional breeders. These are people who know the breed, the standards, and do actually make the effort to preserve the breed as it's supposed to be, for whatever that actually may mean. Because let's face it, some breeds probably need a little bit of work. But anyway. So the opposite of those would be that first category of people who just throw animals together and go, ta-da, I made puppies, I'm a breeder, and then charge, money for the offspring. Those are what I would consider backyard breeders. God dang, I just suck at this whole surviving thing. Backyard breeders are generally not the most savory of people. That does not mean that they are bad people. It just means that they are not necessarily the best in terms of being able to provide you with a healthy and whole creature. So, where do you start as a breeder? Basically, you have to pick a breed that you are going to produce, first of all. Now, you may do this because you love a particular breed. You may do this because you've been fascinated by a particular breed, or you just want to preserve a particular breed. That's all of these qualify. You may just really like Dobermans and you want to breed Dobermans. That's fine. You may also really just be in love with Shar-Peis and you want to be a breeder for Shar-Peis. That's fine too. Now, some people actually really don't care about the breed that they breed. That sounds really redundant when I say it out loud. They just do it because they see the most opportunity in that breed in terms of cost production. I wish I was making that up. So that being the case, you pick a breed, and then you look at getting yourself a breeding material animal, whether you choose to have a male, or in this case, as we will call them, a dog, and or if you want to get a female, as we will call them in this term, a bitch. Yes, either or. If you get a male, you will stud him out. That's basically what happens for breeding. That means that you will have people who will ask to borrow him to breed with a female, or you may elect to do artificial insemination, which does require a little bit of medical intervention. It's about as gross as it sounds. We do actually have to extract the sample. I've never done it. I don't want to do it. Usually specialized places typically will go for that sort of a thing. There's veterinary clinics that are involved in that. I thankfully have not been a part of any of those because that's just weird. I know how they do it for horses. They have a dummy that the male will breed, and then they collect the sample. For dogs, I really honestly don't know. I don't know if it's a dummy that they use or if they literally just collect the sample by hand. I really hope it's not that latter. But again, this is all limited by my own personal experience. Most breedings occur naturally. And by that I mean you put the dog in with the bitch and they do what Mother Nature tells them to do, and hopefully it takes. Now, the advantage of using artificial insemination is... hang on a second, let me find it. No, I want to find my map. Trying to find my map is really difficult here. Hang on. That's not that. Those are all tags, things, stuff, whatnot. There it is. Okay, so apparently I have to go up that way somehow or other. So anyway, where was I? Ah, yes. The advantage of artificial insemination is the fact that you can control the setting, which for breeding can be kind of tricky because you have to time it. You've probably heard of people saying, "Oh, well, we're trying for a baby," when they have to like take their temperature to see if their temperature increases, which it does when you're ovulating, so that they don't miss that window of when they're ovulating, because otherwise it won't take, and then they won't have any sweet bouncing baby bundles of joy. Artificial insemination, you can time it, you can monitor the female, and you don't have to worry about trying to see whether or not the male mounts the female in that amount of time, ties with her, etc., etc. So it's a little bit more of a controlled situation with just a dude in with the girl. It's a little less controlled, but generally speaking, dogs are real good at that whole humping thing. So there's not a whole lot of difficulty in that regard if you have a dog that's good at it. Oh, hey, plot point. Oh no, Gumo, give me that. I need it. So, what I mean by a dog that's good at it. There are some dogs that cannot reproduce naturally. Just can't. That's our fault. We bred that into them. I'll give you an example. The American Bulldog literally cannot reach the female. Just the way that they are built, their hips are too small, and their head's too big, and their front halves are just grossly misshapen to the rest of them, and they just can't reach the female. So often as not, they have to be bred by artificial insemination. If you've ever wondered why it is that bulldogs are so blasted expensive for as screwed up as they are. That's one of the reasons, is because they cannot breed very successfully on their own. Make matters worse, they actually, 99% of them are born via C-section. So that should give you an idea there. But most dogs, if you're talking like labs or Dobermans or pit bulls or half a dozen other things, ow, dangnabbit, seriously? Those guys, generally speaking, can breed the old-fashioned way. Now, if you have a male and you stud him out, it's literally you're renting his time, essentially, and you get, depending on your contract, which, please, if you're ever going to breed an animal, make sure you have lots of contracts in place, will give you either pick of the litter or a certain amount of financial cut from the puppies or something to that effect. Essentially, you have a financial stake. And that's important because otherwise the owner of the bitch is the only one who gets anything. Stop trying to kill me. There we go. Oh, shit, there's still one there. If you have a bitch and you breed her to a male, you have to pay for that male's service fees. And then then you have the fun part of the pregnancy, which is to say you've got to take her into a veterinarian and make sure that she's doing well and monitor the pregnancy as it goes. You have to make sure that her levels are appropriate. It's not something that you can just leave and let happen, because if you do, there's all kinds of horrible things that can go wrong. Give you an example on that. Ow! Son of a biscuit. Give an example on that one. Puppies can die before they're born. If puppies die before they're born, it is imperative to get them out of there because that can compromise the rest of the litter. That is something that veterinarians will check for and make sure that is proceeding properly. If any of them are, if they palpate and one of them feels fluid-filled or feels like it's full of gas, that might be indicative of a puppy that has passed on in utero, and that's just all kinds of dangerous and bad for the whole litter. How do I get past these sons of beaches? Don't kill me. I only have 1 hit point right now. Oh, thank God. Okay, more hit points. Want this thing. So, yeah, a lot of things can go wrong with pregnancy. She can carry too many. She can have too few. I've known a number of breeders who have bred for the sake of having money. This was a backyard breeder in particular who desperately wanted to make a buck on their husky, and it turns out that their husky only had 1 puppy. They made absolutely no money whatsoever on that particular... Well, that sucked. On that particular exchange because they paid for the stud fees and got nothing in return. So these are all things to consider when you're breeding. I should probably save it there so I don't die again and lose that thing. There we go. So yeah, it's important to monitor throughout the pregnancy, just like you would with a human, to make sure everything is going smoothly. It can also endanger the bitch if she has a problem with her pregnancy that causes hypocalcemia, where she doesn't get enough calcium, and half a dozen other problems that can lead to her own demise. So it's really a tricky process. It's not something that you can just do and be like, oh, hey, look, puppies, and now they're so cute, and now I have lots of money. It's not that simple. Let's take this a step further, actually. Parturition, the act of actual giving birth. This part isn't easy either. Just like it is in humans, it can be deadly. I've known a number of animals who lost puppies in birth. It's actually pretty common. Ow. So if you have a bitch with a number of puppies, there's a high likelihood that she may lose one. Same thing with cats, to be completely honest. I have less experience with cat breeders because cats don't have quite the demand for pure breeds that that dogs do. Dogs are just like, oh, I want a purebred husky, or oh, I want a purebred. I don't know. Throw a thing at me. Golden retriever, Scottish terrier, something like that. Cats, less frequent. Zap. What am I doing? Oh God. But when it comes to dogs, it's definitely a concern. Both of them are have the possibility of what is called dystocia, which is literally trouble in birth. Boy, I'm just not having a time of it here. As you can tell, platformers are not my strongest suits. I love this game, though, because it's so pretty. Dystocia, as I said, is trouble in birth, and quite literally can lead to the... there's got to be a way to break that or something. Can lead to the demise of your bitch, which is obviously not the desired outcome, because then you've spent money and gained nothing in return, not to mention you've lost your dog. Recently, I did a C-section, just yesterday, actually, on a breeder's Scottish Terrier. She honestly should retire that bitch from breeding, because that poor dog, she's had enough C-sections now that it's really starting to show on the uterus itself. And I kind of wonder if she's going to make it through another breeding without... Come on, I wanted to jump down off of there. I'm not sure whether or not she's going to make it through another breeding cycle. Anyway, gosh darn it, I feel like there should be like a brick or something here that I can... Because there's no way in hell that I can make it that fast. Let me look at the map. There's no rock there. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm trying to wall jump here, and I'm just not very good at the wall jump part of this. There we go. Run! Whew! Alright, and of course I can't save because I don't have enough mana. Dang it! Don't die! Where was I? So, yes. During birth, you can have puppies become stuck. Yes, that does actually happen. No, please don't try to pull the puppies out on your own, because that is how you end up accidentally pulling off limbs. I wish that was an exaggeration, but it's 100% accurate. Puppies are very fragile, tiny little creatures, and if you try to just pull on the limb that you see sticking out that's been stuck there for an hour, you may end up accidentally removing that leg. Again, veterinary intervention will save lives on a number of occasions there. Sometimes they'll go into labor. Dude, why would you just drop it? What's wrong with you? Sometimes the dog will go into labor and just not finish the job. And then you have puppies that are just in there waiting to be born, and mom's not doing her part. So that happens as well. So in terms of breeding, it's a complicated process for males and females alike. Ow. Okay. Whoa, Jesus Christ. That should have been a warning. Oh yeah, I have wine. Forgot about that. So that's something that you need to bear in mind if you decide you want to breed. So on top of the risk to the patient, on top of the risk to the puppies, you've got the financial obligations to the sire. And then there's the rearing, because puppies are adorable, they're sweet, and they're a real pain in the butt. I love them to death, don't get me wrong. I love puppies, adorable little creatures, but my God, they take a lot of money. Say you have puppies that don't latch, now you have to nurse them. They're cute, but they are newborns, which means that you are going to be feeding them every 2 to 3 hours. You're going to be giving them bottles every 2 to 3 hours, and that is just the way of it. Dude, rude! Why would you do that, man? That is... Okay, well, I guess I was supposed to go this way. All right, whee! Try not to get spiked. Oh, this is going to take some considerable snake-eyed concentration, I can tell that right now. Oh, no. I'm going to get squished. So if you have puppies that don't latch, you have to nurse them. If you've got puppies that have medical conditions, you may have to euthanize them. And I know that sounds awful and heartless, but if you are a breeder and you have puppies that, say, have a cleft palate, that puppy is not going to be able to nurse properly, which means, oh shit. Which means, God damn, I'm bad at saving. Which means that you're going to have to basically make the choice of, are you going to try and medically nurse this creature along that has a congenital defect that may need surgical intervention, which surgical intervention on a neonate is tricky business. That is not our first option, because neonates are just so blasted delicate that you are just asking for trouble. So they might not even survive if you try to fix the issue. Let's say you have a puppy that, for the breed standards requires tail docking or ear cropping. That's something that you have to decide whether or not you're going to do. If you don't approve of tail docking or ear cropping, that's great. You might have to make the decision to not have that breed be the one that you're breeding, because you're going to have to be comfortable with the fact that people who purchase that animal may elect to do so. Now, there are some breeders out there who will put into their contracts that you have to do this or that with their puppies. And the one that you'll usually see most often is you have to neuter or spay this animal. You have to have this one's ears docked or tails docked. That's something that you have to be comfortable putting into a contract, or be aware that contract may not protect you if they decide they're going to do that. They're going to if they're going to crop the ears or dock the tail, that may not be something you have control over unless you have put that into your contract. Oh, that was risky. I shouldn't have done that. We live dangerously. Okay, too dangerously. Oops. I'm kind of getting distracted by my game here. This is problematic. I'm sorry, everybody. So, there's also the idea that a responsible breeder should at least get the first vaccine started. Puppies, honestly, medically speaking, should not leave their mothers before 8 weeks of age. Mother dogs, the bitches, are usually very, very good at teaching their puppies how to be proper dogs and not assholes. They teach them cues in terms of, hey, this is how you play nicely. Dude, why you gotta be a pain in my butt? Rude. Oh no. Okay, hang on. Apparently this is like a mini boss battle. Okay, so Gumo decided to wake this guy up, and now I have to kill him. Real nice. Phew! Awesome possum. I win. So, if you leave the puppy with mom, that will ensure that they're weaned properly by 8 weeks. They usually wean around 4 to 5 weeks. She will teach them good habits, and they won't have as much difficulty adjusting to a new home. It sounds counterintuitive, but it is actually the truth. So if you're going to have a puppy that you're going to then home at 8 weeks, you really should have at least a couple dewormings on board. Now, if you find that you cannot sell your puppies until after 8 weeks of age, you're going to have to start getting them on their first vaccines. Things like distemper and parvo start early. Honestly, we suggest getting distemper parvo on board at 8 weeks. You don't want to do it any earlier than that, because if you try to vaccinate... Wow, that was dumb of me. If you try to vaccinate too early, you will end up with the antibodies from the vaccine interfering with the antigens in the mother's colostrum. If you have bottle babies, talk to your doctor, talk to your veterinarian about getting them started on vaccines earlier, because they don't have mom's antibodies to protect them. So they might not be protected. And so they might need that extra help. But generally, healthy puppies who have been nursing properly, yeah, you start at 8 weeks. Distemper parvo is really the only one you can start at 8 weeks. You can technically start Bordetella, which is kennel cough, at that time. Dang it, I don't have enough mana to save here. That's a buggerly thing. Ah, those are spikes. But yeah, vaccines are on a week, on an age schedule. Generally speaking, that's for the safety of the animal. So at 8 weeks, you can start distemper parvo, and then about 12 weeks is when you can start doing things like leptospirosis, influenza. I want to say you can start it at 12 weeks. Oh, I'm gonna drown. No, suck. Just not real good at that. And then rabies is 16 weeks. So if you're going to give out your puppies to new homes, or rather, if you're going to sell your puppies to new homes, you need to look into how much those vaccines are going to cost. If you can get a bulk rate. For some veterinarians will actually do what's called a litter discount for puppies that are being bred, just to make sure that they are well covered before they go out to their new locations. But that costs money up front until you get the payment received for the puppy itself. Oh, hey, there's a thing over here. Oh, sweet. I think this is the one where I can dash. I think it's dash. Double jump. I'll take it. That helps a lot. Yes, double jump. Yay. Let's save it so I don't screw up again. Oh, that's why. So, puppies are an investment. Breeding is an investment. It's a lot of work. You've got these puppies now for as long as it takes to sell them off, unless you plan on keeping them. And that can be a while. Recently, I helped with the delivery and subsequent vaccines of a litter of poodle puppies that were delivered via C-section just before Thanksgiving. Cute little boogers. She still hasn't found a home for all of them yet. It's not for lack of trying. She's had a couple of people interested, but she's very picky about the people that she sells her puppies to, which is fair, because honestly, if you're going to put that kind of money into an animal, it's probably best to be picky about who they go to, especially if you care about the animal, for Pete's sake. So, I'm glad I saved it there. So, I mean, you can end up feeding, housing, vaccinating, and keeping these animals for much longer than you expect if you're going to be careful about actually breeding them. So, professional breeders, by and large, will show their animals in order to have them properly papered and therefore of higher quality. You can't just say, oh, well, I have an animal from this champion line. That's not really good enough. I mean, it is for most laymen, I suppose, if they're just going to be pets. But if you want an actual quality animal, you need to take them to pet shows or to, dog shows, and you need to show them. Dog shows are a completely different topic that I will go over another broadcast because, oh my god, the amount of politics that goes into that is insane. I have no desire whatsoever to get involved in dog show business stuff. Because some of them are a little bit crazy. I'm just going to say that out loud. If you've ever seen Best in Show, it's not that far off. They're actually pretty neurotic in that particular field. And all the breeders that I've ever talked to who actually show their animals are ready and willing to admit that. That's just the nature of the beast. That's how it is. That being said, that's the best way to actually end up with an animal that will net you any kind of honest-to-goodness cash. For example, that poodle lady that I was telling you about. Yay, map. Her dogs... I just can't go that way, I guess. Her dogs are all papered. She shows them. Or rather, she has somebody who does show them. She doesn't show them herself. See also politics. Don't get squished. And she's charging, I want to say, $1,200 for the pet puppies. That's not the ones that are show quality. That is just the ones that are pet quality. What do I mean by the difference between pet quality and show quality? Pet quality are dogs that are great dogs, come from good lines, but have this or that kind of, I won't say defect per se, but undesirable trait perhaps that may make it less than optimal for them to go into a show ring. Breeders like dogs that show well. They just do, because those are the animals that will get them money. So you show a dog, it shows well, it gets what's called finished. If they place a certain number of times and show a number of times and are judged well, those animals, if you breed them, their puppies will give you lots and lots of money. That's why breeders like them. If you have one that has any kind of defect whatsoever, come on. Aw. Really? I gotta go all the way back here? I suck. Wait a minute. Oh, shit. I meant to go up because there's that manosphere up here. There we are. Where was I? Trying to remember where I was on topic. Oh, so pet quality puppies are usually the ones you'll see in the contract. You may purchase this puppy on the express contract that you spay or neuter, or they may even come spayed or neutered already because the line is not what they would judge to be appropriate for breeding, and it will honestly reflect badly on the breeder if that animal does breed, because then if you ever try and show it, they can trace it back to them and they'll be like, oh my god, this person produced this animal, and they're like, well, I didn't mean to, or rather it was supposed to be just a pet. If they put it in their contract that it's supposed to be spayed or neutered and then the person doesn't live up to it, then at least the breeder is absolved. But yeah, so that's kind of how that goes with dogs and with dogs, at least. Cats, like I said, it's a lot stop shooting me, you asshole. With cats, it's a lot less common of a thing because cats, by and large, purebred cats aren't as high in demand. That's not to say that they aren't in demand. They're just not as high in demand. Like people will want Sphinx cats. People will want Norwegian forest cats. They will want this or that kind of breed. That's fine. That's fair. That's what they want. Those will usually come from catteries instead of kennels. Kennels are for dogs. Catteries are for cats. Oh, it's all fine and dandy that you can just wall crawl. God dang, dude. Rude. Let's see if I can do this without... Ow! Dying. Catteries are more difficult to maintain. I just got something in front of me. Catteries are difficult because if you have a male cat, he's gonna stink up your place. I'm sorry. That's just how boy cats are. Intact male cats have stinky pee, and god dang, I'm just having the hardest time here. And I mean, it's really hard to find a cattery enough that will have a male that can be lent out to you for the purpose of breeding. So you can try and have just a female in your cattery, but by and large, oh, I made it so close that time. Contrasting to dogs and bitches, you have toms and queens. Toms are the intact males. Queens, of course, are the females, so called because it was rumored that they held court over the males. Anyway, again, not a lot of personal experience in cat breeding, but same sort of things apply in terms of, hey, take care of your pets, get them medically checked out. So the thing that was just put in front of me is the content nonsense that I've run into before. You will have unscrupulous people who will swear up, down, and sideways that they are breeding wolf dogs or hybrids, content creatures. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that if you see someone who has any kind of content, anything, one of two things is the case. One, you got taken, and you just spent a lot of money on something that really and truly is not what they promised it was going to be. A lot of times people will pay $2,000-$3,000 for a quote-unquote high-content wolf dog that turns out to be a Malamute Shepherd mix. And I mean, that's a very expensive mutt. Not saying they're bad dogs, but in fact, they're usually really good dogs. But, dude, will you just get back here? Oh my god. But it's not a wolf dog, so you just got screwed. And there's really nothing you can do about it. You can't sue for, the wrong thing because technically speaking, owning a wolf dog is a legal gray area anyway. Well, this is bad. Oh. Okay. Okay. Ay. So, hang on a second while I get very distracted by falling rocks. So that's one thing that can happen is, one, you can get totally screwed and they will charge you an arm and a leg for an animal that's not even what they promised that it is. The second thing that can happen is that they actually give you what they say they have, which is a high-content wolf dog. Because they do exist. But, ladies and jelly beans, if you get a high-content wolf dog, that's bad. They are not domesticated. I've heard people saying, well, you can just habituate them. No, you can't. You can try, but chances are you are going to end up very sorry at the end of the day. The vast majority, and I want to say the percentile is in the 80s or 90s. Yeah, let me fix that for you, dude. Hey. Come back. Oh, thank you. So even if somebody's being a dickhole, if you're nice to them, maybe they'll actually learn. That's good. I like that. So, where was I? No, seriously, where was I? I forgot. Oh, content wolves. So 98% of wolf dogs, I want to say, end up in shelters. And there's a very sad reason for that. It's because the wolf aspect of their breeding will show through. And it shows through right about the time that they're of age 2. They start to become more independent. They start to challenge their owners more. They're very destructive. By and large, wolf dogs will end up chewing holes through your house. And I don't mean, like, oh, I have a dog that chews aggressively. No, I mean, like, they will make it look like somebody drove a truck through your house. They don't dig holes, they dig ditches. I have a picture, actually, of me at the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center with a beautiful little wolf named Nala. And she was working very hard on a hole she was digging. And I want to say it was about 3 feet deep. And, it was just a little... Oh, son of a biscuit-eating monkey. It was just a little hole that she'd just been working on. It was fairly recent that she had tried this thing. And it was, in fact, that deep already. They are extremely, extremely destructive animals just because they are wild. They're not used to this whole civilization nonsense thing. So if you try to civilize them, you have an extraordinary uphill battle. Some city ordinances will not allow you to have wolf dogs. Some veterinarians will not treat wolves' dogs because wolf dogs are, technically speaking, wildlife, and that puts us at a liability. Some veterinarians actually will have to change their license in order to actually treat wolf dogs. It's just not fun for anybody. So the less we can tangle with wolf dogs, the happier everyone is. So I want to say the vast majority of the animals that are claimed to be wolf dogs aren't. And the ones who are set up for failure, and it's just sad. Woo, that was close. So don't buy or breed wolf dogs, please. It's not worth it to anybody. I know a lot of people like owning the wild for cool points, but it's just not kind to the animal, so don't do it. Okay. Let's see. I think that's covered most of the things that I meant to talk about. Does anybody have any questions? Pause for a second so I can take a look at the chat here. Ah, yes, the wolf scam. No, doesn't look like I have any questions so far. Let's see. Oh, I need to go up that way. Gosh, what are some other things? Breeders like to think they know everything. I will say that right out of the gate. A lot of them think they know better than veterinary professionals, which is hilarious to me because I don't recall them going to school for that long. I've had people tell me that Bengal cats are immune to feline leukemia and don't need to have feline leukemia vaccine. That is not true. I've had people tell me that, same lady with the Scottish Terrier puppies, that rabies causes cancer. The rabies vaccine causes cancer. Heard that one. Just other little lunatic things like that you run into. And it really sucks because they're almost certainly passing this information on to the people who are purchasing the animal. Yay! First dungeon. But yeah, they spread misinformation because they think they know what they're talking about. That's not to say that breeders know nothing. Um, they know a lot more than we do in terms of what the breed standards typically are, for example, because we don't show the animals, we fix them. So, if for example, a lady came in, she just bred her Weimaraner, very pretty dog, and had 6 puppies, one of whom died at birth. Like I said, it's fairly common. Um, and the 5 boys she brought in for tail docking. And our doctor acquiesced to her request. They refused to do ear cropping because ear cropping is a bloody mess, and it's actually surprisingly difficult. So we typically don't do it if we can avoid it. Ooh, thingy. And we said, well, how far do you want us to dock the tails? And she said, well, the breed standard is 1.5 inches. Now, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that to save my life if the breeder had not told me, because I don't know what the breed standard is for docking a Weimaraner tail. That's not something I studied. I studied the effects of tail docking and I studied the actual process, but I did not study how far to dock this breed's tail. So I won't say that breeders don't know anything. That's patently false. But they do typically have very poor information when it comes to health and medicine, by and large. Now, some actually have some good information, and they will usually listen to veterinary professionals if they have specific suggestions for this or that, for that breed. We have a nice lady who comes in, she breeds Papillons, and she actually had her dog come in for x-rays because she wanted to make sure the dog was carrying a certain number of puppies before she just, allowed her to deliver on her own. And ow. Did I go that way? Oh, cool. How do I... There we are. Oh, is that all? Okay. And we confirmed how many puppies she had via x-ray. It's the game of count the skeletons. And when the time started kind of getting close, she actually asked us to provide her with... Ow. Son of a biscuit. With sub-Q fluids that she could take home, needles to administer them, and an injection of Pitocin to help with contractions if her girl started having problems and we weren't open, because her due date was over the weekend and my clinic's not open on the weekend. So some breeders are exceptionally responsible and will do absolutely everything they can to make sure that their animals are well taken care of. So if I say breeders are terrible people, that's not actually the truth. Many of them do actually care a lot. Just be very careful which ones you're listening to, because some of them don't. I'll check the chat again and see if there's any other questions. Yeah, she's a really good person. I really enjoy working with her. She's one of those people who the care of the animal is utmost. She had 2 puppies, one of whom has a particular condition called pectus excavatum, if I'm not mistaken. It's something that I'm recently familiar with. Basically, the sternum didn't fully develop properly, and the puppy has what looks like right now a flat chest, but it's actually not flat at all. It's actually somewhat concave, and as the puppy ages, it will actually have decreased ow, son of a biscuit, decreased lung capacity, potential heart issues, those sorts of things. It's just, that's the nature of the beast, and that's nobody's fault. That's just genetics, and that happens sometimes with puppies. Not all the time are you going to breed animals that will come out 100% perfect. In fact, that's usually not the case. Often as not, you will have at least one, like I said, that either doesn't make it, dies during birth, before, or that just has funny little things like that. Those are the kinds of animals that will turn into, as I referred to before, pet animals, as opposed to show animals. So, yeah, some people are good, some people suck. That's basically how it goes for pretty much everything anyway, so I suppose I shouldn't be too surprised with breeders being in that category as well. But it does seem like there's an unfortunate number of breeders who care more about the potential money and or status, ouch, than the health and well-being of the son of a bitch of the animal that they are breeding. So, ow, ow, ow. I'm apparently having some issues here with this whole not get dying thing. I hope you're getting some amusement at least of me failing considerably every time, because there we go. I like amusing people even if it sucks for me. So, whee. Where am I? Oh, there I am. Oh. Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Kind of literally. That goes there and breaks that thingy. And I bet you dollars to donuts oh, Jesus Christ. Never mind. Huh. I wonder if I... Oh, I see. Okay, this is going to get tricky. Faster! Nope. So I hope that at least sheds a little bit of light on the subject. Ow, son of a bitch. There are obviously going to be breeders of all types, shapes, sizes, and whatnot. You will occasionally find people who breed reptiles, who breed rodents, who breed rabbits. Anything and everything can end up being either bred well or bred poorly. And it's just honestly a matter of, well, kind of circumstance, to be completely honest. And the attitude of the person doing it, because some people will do everything they can as best they can with what they know, but not everybody knows everything, and so that often will end up to confusing people, which is unfair. Oh, did I make it harder on myself than I had to? Because I think I was supposed to put that one over. Okay. I feel very silly now. Oh well. I did the hard way because I like doing things difficult. I don't know. Whoop. I was going to say, I hope it saves right there. Anyway, so that basically brings our time up. I know I started a little later than I normally do because I'm bad at planning. Ow! Shit. But I hope at least it was informative and useful and enjoyable to everybody. Save it here. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I am going to call it a night and probably go play some cattails. I will put up another poll on Twitter to see what topic we will do next. Probably vaccines. Honestly, that one was pretty high on the last poll. But it was dental care month, so I may just override everybody and do dental cleanings next time. I did have one person who desperately wanted some more information on that one, and it is a subject that is not talked about enough. So I will see you in 2 weeks. I'm going to just do these every 2 weeks, I think, on Tuesdays. And yeah, look for that poll, and we will go from there. Are you going to try to save the streams somewhere? Um, yes, but I don't know where. As I have them um on my video producer thing. I have them locked away in my own Twitch bit thing, but I suppose I could upload them to YouTube or something. I don't know. I'm bad at this. In fact, I suck a lot at this. I am not one of the streaming generation. I'm barely sticking my foot in the waters here. So, but yes, I will try to find a way of saving the streams. I'm also going to continue to try and figure out how to get the charity bit to work because it's really very sad to me that the charity button is not showing up for people, um, and allowing people to click on that. So I will find a way to make this all work. I might have to watch a number of YouTubes, but hey, that's what YouTube is for. So yeah, I will try to get those streams saved. Keep an eye on Twitter for updates, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody. Love you. Mwah.